make the argument for how, I don't know, the Celtics overlooked the Knicks. The Knicks are healthy for the first time playing the Celtics. Give me some argument for how this thing isn't a 5-game series.
So the argument has nothing to do with the Knicks or the Celtics, and it has everything to do with just how unpredictable basketball can be and how a guy that you game plan to leave open for a series can get hot. And I think Josh Hart has the opportunity to be an X factor in the series. If you look back at 2023, Miami versus Boston in the conference finals, nobody had Miami winning that series. Nobody had Miami taking a 3-0 lead. That was a different Celtics team. They were way less consistent than this team. But still, crazier things have happened. So, I don't really have a strong case to be made for the Knicks on paper or, of what we've seen this season. There was clearly a gap the 4 times they faced off. But I'm not one of those people that's saying this is a home run, Celtics are going to crush them, there's not going to be a question, because that's just not reflective of how this sport typically plays out. So that's your biggest hope. Unfortunately, it's not specific to your team, but I think there's always a chance.
How about in the way, I'll and this isn't an argument, this is just I guess, an observational fact in terms of what we've seen in this postseason across the board. How about in the way the postseason has been officiated? Does the fact that the officials have allowed it to become so much more physical, that the league has allowed it to become so much more physical, does it benefit one team or the other to you?
No. I mean, in theory, it's a disadvantage for the Celtics, just compared to most teams, because that has been something that they haven't necessarily leaned into, that more physical style of play. I thought they handled it pretty well against Orlando, to be honest. There's a lot was said about the fact that Orlando was able to limit the 3-point attempts, but they ultimately took care of business pretty easily. From a Jalen Brunson standpoint, obviously he gets to the line a lot. If they let more stuff go, that hurts him a little bit. So I think it probably balances out a bit. I think officiating just needs to be more consistent in general. I was watching the Warriors-Rockets game yesterday, and I was getting frustrated with missed calls, and I was like, I actually don't care at all about who wins this game. So, I don't necessarily think that one team style of play is going to be hurt more, because Tatum and Brown have both gotten so much better at handling that physicality. They were getting to the line way above their regular season clips during that Orlando series, and so in that sense, I could see that continuing for them as well.
From a Joe Mazzulla perspective, and sitting in on his press conferences, what seems to be the number one focus for him when he looks at this Knicks team, outside of Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, I think for him, it's the things that are the number one focus, or at least how he communicates stuff. But I do think it's genuine, is not specific to the Knicks.